And we are here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Soundrop's Office Hours live stream, where we pull back the curtain on music distribution, help you get to know us a little better, and answer your questions live. I'm Pony. I'm the brand manager for Soundrop, and this is Rusty, our lead product platform expert guy who knows all the stuffs. And we're just going to jump right into questions right away.
Let's do it.
You want to do it?
You do it.
Okay, I'll do it. So, first question we've got here from Ro Panyuganti. Sorry if I butchered that, but I think I got that right. Ro is a video game music cover artist, YouTuber, music teacher, music gear geek who gives lessons via Skype and everything. And
he's
Rusty,
actually in our chat right now, too.
He's in the chat. Rusty, put a... Rusty's going to put a link to his his YouTube channel because Ro's awesome. So Ro's question to us was, why do fools fall in love? I'm assuming that he's referring back to the 1956 tune by Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. Do we have any covers of that in the system?
I would imagine we do. I haven't actually checked. But
it's a good song. It's a great song.
Yeah.
But, you know...
do a metal cover of it.
Definitely do a metal cover of it.
Yeah.
Florian, if you do a metal cover of Why Do Fools Fall in Love, you know...
Why do Florian's blast beat into love?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd listen to it.
I think Florian uses blast beats. Anyway, okay. So to get to the question, you know, when you actually look at the lyrics to that song, it asks a series of questions within the song, but it doesn't really give you the answers to the main question. So over here at Soundrop, you know, we believe that you can only truly love someone else if you love yourself first. And here's the thing: have you met yourself? If you're like me, you're awful.
Have you met him? Awful.
Yeah, Rusty has to deal with me every day. You know, anxious, grumpy, full of self-doubt and judgment, and just sitting on earth waiting for the next drink to be served. So the thing is, though, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of being loved just by the mere fact that you were born. So if you can let go of all that knowledge of who you've built yourself up to be in your own mind, all those self-criticism and self-judgment, and just stop knowing all of that, essentially becoming a fool, you will be able to love yourself and therefore fall in love. Don't look at me. And that's why fools fall in love.
Nice.
Yeah, Ro had another question, though, and this one I think he was actually serious about. Maybe.
This one is much more music related.
This one's actually music related. Okay, so he said, what would you... He asked me this. What would you suggest to musicians using your service to get the best growth possible? So, and that's actually funny that you should ask that, Ro, because we recently posed a very similar question, not limited to our service per se, but just that question of, you know, what is your secret to success? And we posed that question to some of our top-selling artists on Soundrop, and they answered, and they gave us a huge range of answers. So we gathered up all those answers, and we're actually going to email them to all of our users. I think we're prepping that email right now. So check your inbox for that and let us know if you don't get our emails, but you want to. Anyway, so Rusty and I are actually going to go through some of those answers that we got from our top selling artists. We're going to go through them right now and actually talk about them. So Rusty, I liked this one in particular by Michael Ty.
Yes.
And can we post a link to Michael in the...
Oh, we can do exactly that.
In the chat there.
Yeah.
So here's what Michael said, and he is amazing. So he said, if your work is genuine, thoughtful, and an expression of who you are as a person, then it will naturally find its way into the hearts of others. It all comes from the heart, and people connect this way. And I think that that is absolutely true, and I think you know, the most successful musicians are playing from their heart. They're playing music that they love, not just music that they think other people want to hear. It's that authenticity that actually makes that connection, makes all the difference. And you know, Rusty and I were actually just at VidCon last week, and there were a lot of brands there that were like multi-billion-dollar brands, like I don't know, like Johnson and Johnson or something. And they were like posing this question to the presenters who were successful creators, and they're like, how am I supposed to get a sponsorship with a creator that's connected with their audience, but actually make my product something that they can authentically endorse? Because I'm Colgate or something. They wouldn't use their own actual brand names, but I just figure, it's like a company like Colgate or something. And they were saying, how do I reach an audience with an authentic connection for my product, which is just mass distributed. You see it on every grocery store. And I realized that that's a challenge for them, but that's not a challenge for us, and particularly not a challenge for you as a musician, who you're essentially creating your own brand, to play music, find music that you can play and record and distribute and post online that you really feel. We got other answers that I think, Rusty can kind of speak to the other side of that, but I think it all starts with something that you can do, like Michael said, that it comes from the heart.
Yeah.
And it's not all just data and analytics, but if you're into data and you're into analytics, there are options, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, through our monthly statements, you're able to see how each of your tracks are performing, which services they're performing better or worse in, which
Get your
countries.
Excel chops.
Yeah, exactly. Excel chops are really important. But even if you just use the in-app analytics, you can see by country, by service. Spotify has really good analytics as well, analytics.spotify.com, where you can go through your actual artist page, and you can see broken down by age group as well. And you can use that to your advantage in targeting, your specific kind of audience.
What was it? Analytics.spotify.com.
And also claim your Spotify artist page if you haven't already.
Yeah, claim your Spotify artist page.
Just do it.
Do we have an article in the Help Center about claiming your Spotify artist page?
I believe we do. But it's really as easy as just going to artist.spotify.com.
All right, we're
now Space Ghosts in the Machine.
We're Space Ghosting right now.
I am, Space Ghosting.
So I'm going to crack a beer.
That's actually a LaCroix.
Rusty,
Don't want to get fired.
Exposing the business, Rusty.
That's right. So one other quote from one of our VIPs that I respond really well to is from Sean Skafiansky, and he says, "I never stop learning. Expanding my skill set and increasing the quality of my releases keep people coming back for more." I think in addition to writing and arranging music that really speaks to you, pushing the boundaries of what you're capable of doing as well is going to always keep things more interesting for you, and it will provide your listeners with something new and fresh every time.
Yeah, and we did get a lot of comments that were in the vein of just keep creating, keep releasing, don't wait for perfect, get it out there.
Stick to a schedule, keep it.
Well, yes, a schedule, and we should get to that, but even more importantly, don't just keep sitting on the same piece of music, remastering, remixing forever. Just get it out there, like us, we want to do a live stream, so we get it all set up, we get in here, we flip on the camera and the mics, we turn on the broadcast, and then we just disappear into invisibility. Over time, we'll learn how to stop doing that, but it shouldn't stop us from being able to actually just get something out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And so then, let's loop back to the consistency of schedule. That was something that we heard a lot from Travis Atreo, who's an incredible, he plays piano and a little bit of guitar. He's just an amazing singer, and he just does acoustic or just stripped down soulful versions of popular songs. He said, consistently upload a new quality sounding recording on the same day every week. Whether it's a cover song or original, my fans are always ready for new music to come out. So people are so bombarded with a million different things going on right now that you don't want to make it difficult for them to figure out how to get your music and when your stuff's going to come out. And if you're releasing a song every Friday, that'll become a part of their lives. That'll become something that they just connect to. It's difficult to record enough music to release a song every Friday, especially if you're just meddling with it forever and you never just like pump out a finished product. The thing is, though, I feel like it would be hard to, if you're not a guy like Travis who's like just needs one good take, you know.
Well, and you'll improve every time you go through the same process as well. And some people will record a song a week, maybe record a video a week. Some people will record, like, do a session for a week or two and like do all of the songs that they're going to release.
And then
over the month or two.
Exactly. And then you get like a jump start.
So different approaches to doing it.
Let's see. This dude right here. Oh, yeah, there.
Cool.
Hi, Dennis. Okay. All right, so let's take another one here. There were a couple, and I really... Oh, yeah. So Joshua David Harris. I really like this one. He said, put time and thought into creating albums with tracks that go well together. When you have that continuity, the goal is for listeners to want to listen to the whole album without skipping tracks. So if you've got a full album that is consistent enough that and well-themed enough that somebody would want to sit there and listen to the entire album in a single sitting, from a listener's perspective, that kind of comes off like one big song. But for you, as an artist who's getting paid per stream on a 12-song album, that's 12 streams you got right there. So that's a good case for creating and releasing albums. So the cool thing that you can do in Soundrop is take singles that you've released, over the weeks and months, and compile them into a single album. And if you set it up right in the UI, you don't have to deal with the licensing again. All the licensing is covered under the original release of that single.
Mm-hmm.
That's good info. Pony with the good info. Woo!
Huh.
All right.
Cool. Moving on.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'm spoiling the email. This great email that you're going to get later. But just to kind of like distill it down. Consistent schedule. Release as frequently as you can. Comfortably put out quality material.
Right. As long as it's quality material.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to just send out junk, but if you the more you do it, the better you'll get, and that regular schedule is the thing. And the other thing about releasing as frequently as possible is, that's the best way to learn. You might have a song that you did on a whim that you thought nobody was going to care about, but you just liked it, and that's why you did it, and you put it out there, and for some reason, it catches on, and that's your most popular. That's the one, yeah. And then just releasing a lot of music. Every week and month that goes by, you'll earn new fans, and those fans will want to go back. Those new fans will want to go back and listen to all your back catalog. So the bigger of a back catalog you have, the more options and the more music there is out there for people that are just discovering you today. They don't only want to hear your newest thing. So consistent schedule, release as frequently as possible, and regular on a regular basis. Follow your heart. Authenticity is always tops. Another thing, number 4, was look for a niche. So I think it was Purple Shala. Yeah. Said, I look to fill niche markets of games that I love. If there isn't a lot of solo piano covers, say, of a particular game or series out there, I try to fill that void. So, the main song from Super Mario Brothers, tons of that. Zelda, the common ones. Mm-hmm. But man, if whoever puts that releases that album of Xanac covers.
Yeah, or What Remains of Edith Finch would be another great example.
That sounds cool.
It's one of the coolest.
Oh, yeah. And you know, if you put that soundtrack, and there's inevitably some people out there that are looking for that music, not finding it, and as soon as you get it out there, they will find it, and you'll be the only source for it. So that's number 4. Woo!
Yep.
Find your niche. And number 5 was connect, listen, engage with your fans. A lot of people said, so Kumu, maybe we can find a link for Kumu.
Oh,
Sorry,
sure,
I should have
sure
put all the links in the, well, see, we have this paper.
Let's just download the paper into the computer. We'll have all the links. That's not how it works at all. All right, I'll find the Kumu link.
It worked as well as the copy machine over there does.
Love it.
Kumu said, do your best to show your followers that you care by simply replying to their comments on YouTube. Even if you don't know what to say, just saying something shows that you've read their comment and that they're being heard. And if your fans are actually getting a chance to interact with you, and that's the great thing that musicians today have, that musicians of prior generations did not have, was the ability to just interact in near real time with their fans on a one-on-one basis without having to be mobbed by teenage girls, which is always my problem.
Really?
I mean, back in the day. So that was number 5. Connect, listen, engage with your fans. But I thought of one that wasn't on this list for some reason.
Whoa.
Maybe.
What'd you think
It
of?
should have been. Well, we have this new really cool thing that you can use in your Soundrop account just by having a Soundrop account, and it's called Show.co. And the most popular feature of Show.co, I think it's the most popular feature.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Spotify pre-saves. So basically, actually, you explain how this works.
I'll take this one. Are you guys familiar with Spotify pre-saves?
They said no.
Well, nobody
You
said
better
said
tell me
anything.
more. Oh.
So Spotify pre-saves
it
are pretty
here.
cool. It's just like pre-sales for downloads on, say, iTunes or Amazon. It's a way for your fans to have access to a release the day it goes up. So they can pre-save it. It will show up in their library. And as another tool, they'll actually be able to start following you too. So we have this partnership with Show.co. It's under free marketing tools.
Yeah, so when you first log in, there's that start page that has all the stuff and the little blue bars come up.
Yeah, it's on the right side under resources. It's just a
Resources.
text link. Click it. It'll take you to the sign up page for Show.co. As a Soundrop member, you get 2 campaigns, and so you can set up a Spotify pre-save. Basically, you can incentivize it. Like maybe you have a live video, or
Do any of you guys have videos?
What's a video? So if you have an unlisted video, or maybe you have like a demo version of a song you've been working on, or something like that, like something unique that you can offer your fans by having them, either sign up for the pre-save or by giving their email address, they can have access to that new album or that new single the day it's released. They'll follow you on
Doesn't
Spotify.
it automatically appear in their
Yes.
song?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the sweet thing.
Yeah, that's the sweet thing. And then if you want to add icing on that cake of awesomeness, you can give them something unique as well, just for clicking that button, saying that they're going to pre-save it.
I'm gonna give you this for the phrase icing on the cake of awesomeness.
Sweet.
That's a sweet phrase. Yeah, and the Spotify algorithms that suggest music and stuff. Did you already say this?
No.
Oh, will pick up on the fact that a bunch of people's library, when it gets added to their library, it gets right to the top and people will listen to it immediately. And so when Spotify's algorithm sees that a bunch of streams happened as soon as this thing went live, then their engine starts, it starts kind of going into all their suggestions, so in the emails that you get from Spotify or the your playlist to your Discover Weekly, or not Discover Weekly, well, it might if it hits big enough. But what are the what's the one that's your daily mix?
Yeah.
Would it show up in there?
That I'm not sure of, actually.
Or is that just stuff that you already have saved or played before? I don't know.
I'm a Google Play user.
Spotify's a mystery.
Wrapped in an enigma.
Hey, Biff. This toy's awesome.
He wasn't talking about that one. I think he was talking about your gigantic rustler.
Oh, yeah. That's Daniel Bryan.
Well, perfect.
So somebody asked on here... somebody asked on here, if I publish through Soundrop for my original music, do you also deal with ASCAP stuffs? And the answer is not at this time.
Correct.
Now, we built our feature set to specifically serve cover song musicians cover song musicians for the most part. Though, the good thing about originals is that if you're submitting original music, there's absolutely zero upfront fees to just get it distributed to Spotify and iTunes and everything right away. So it just gets on the services and you pay nothing upfront. So it is actually a good service for original music, I think, if you don't need like massive distribution. But if you are, you want to make sure that your composition is registered properly and you're getting your songwriter royalties and everything. There are definitely distributors that do that. I always recommend CD Baby, my buddies. So yeah. Are any cover of Mastodon? Oh,
yeah. So that was the one serious question that we've had in chat so far.
Oh, well, somebody said I disagree with the focus of quantity. So, I think I can see a point there. If you're only focused on quantity and not enough on quality, then what you'll end up doing is just releasing 3 minutes of garbage every week, and that'll do nothing for you. So I think in that case, you would want to figure out what is the most regular schedule that you can commit to for releasing. Even just once a month, or once every 2 months. If you said, the last day of the month, the last Friday of the month, something like that. Or if you do the approach that Rusty was mentioning, which is record enough stuff to last you for 6 weeks and then release a song every week, that gives you kind of that buffer, that head start there. All right.
Cool.
Here, let's put the article about how pre-saves, Spotify pre-saves work. Let's put that right in the thing if you didn't already. So I'm putting that in the chat for you guys. And that explains how pre-saves work. Set it up with an advanced release date in the future. And
yeah,
hit us up and we take it from there.
Yeah, give it a shot. Let us know how you like it.
Yeah. Send us links to your show.co campaigns, and we'll share them. So there is another thing that I wanted to add here to kind of go to that same question of like, what can I do as an artist to drive growth in my own personal brand here? A kind of promotional option that you have, which doesn't necessarily create real strong connections to fans, but is just gets your name out there and in front of people's faces, are Facebook and Twitter ad campaigns, which are can be incredibly cheap to create. You can do one for like $5 or $10, and to a reach of like hundreds of thousands of people, and all that stuff is available in the ads platform on Twitter and on Facebook, and you can just plug in, artists that you think, their fans would like you. Plug them in, and create this little audience. If you use Twitter, just like create a real nice tweet and put $10 behind it and see what happens, and you just kind of experiment with that stuff. And that's just another way, and Facebook as well, is just another way to just get more name recognition, and just, you know, if you send it to 100,000 people and one out of those, one person really likes it and becomes a fan, and, you know, that cost you $10, $10 for a diehard fan is totally worth it. Do you have anything you wanted to add to that? More growth strategies for a musician? Drink a lot of beer. That'll grow you up real fast.
I mean, just engage with your community. So we have all of these different types of social media platforms. It looks like we have a 2000 network error on our stream. At least that's what I'm seeing. Unless it's just my laptop acting up.
2000.
It's just me.
What is the 2000 network?
Well, in the year 2000, there was a network. All right, cool. I'm glad it's just my computer.
I'm Googling this.
Just Google the absolute hell out of the thing.
Will I get a virus?
Maybe. Let's hope.
I won't.
So Y2K, you have a Y2K?
Yeah, I just got Y2K'd. This is like the 5th time today. It's
Belgian
amazing.
beer definitely works.
I got Y10K'd. So there are all of these different social media platforms, and it's really important to engage with your community on all of them. But then also, you know, these different platforms will have different audiences inherently. So different types of content on different platforms, is going to be really important. Yeah, and then just, you know, one other thing that I like to do at the very least with my band is look for videos on YouTube that use my music, whether it's somebody reposting a song of ours, or maybe it's in the background of a video or something like that, and then engaging with the comment section in those videos as well, trying to bring it back to the overall brand.
Yeah. Slick.
Cool.
Yeah, so those are some ways to drive growth for yourself as a musician, besides the Belgian beer and Jack in the Box, all of which work to grow your body as a musician.
I think that's the wrong kind of, my body of work is growing at a tremendous rate.
Just eat an entire cake of awesomeness.
Oh, no.
All right. Here's another question from Subversive Asset. I don't know if he's on here, but he's a tax accountant by day, video game music cover artist, saxophonist at night, and starter of super interesting threads on Twitter. Let's put his...
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
This guy's got me. And this was a question he asked during our last stream. He said, tell us more about your daily processes. What are the points where things can go awry or get delayed? It was something to that effect. I didn't copy it out, but that's how I remembered it. So there are, within like our walls, through our process, there are kind of 3 points where things could potentially go a little sideways and delay the distribution of the release. So the first point is in our approval queue. So this is after you set up your album, you fill out all the distribution settings and everything, and then you click submit, and that sends it over to our team to just make sure that it's something that we can distribute. So, and we call that the approval queue, is basically just like the line of releases that are waiting to get approved. So at this point, if there's something wrong with the release and we can't distribute it because of the metadata or the cover art or something, we'll push it back to you. We'll unlock it and send you an email and put a note on the release that basically tells you what the problem is. Sorry, got a distracting email.
What the issue is, what the solution is. Yep. If you can't figure out how to fix the issue, just make sure to contact our support team. They'll be happy to assist. Yeah,
and if you feel like you're unsure about what the rules are for what can and can't be distributed, right there on that handy-dandy resources section of your Soundrop start page, there's something called the Soundrop Style Guide. And so you can download that, and that goes through it in excruciatingly painful detail. But our approval team knows that stuff inside and out, so you're not going to pull anything over on them. But nobody's trying to pull anything over on anybody anyway. You're just trying to get it through as quick as possible. So use that Soundrop Style Guide. I just saw somebody from our approval team walk by right now. She was smiling very bigly.
No.
So So the approval queue is the first place that they, and you know, depending on how quick you can get it back to us, we can approve it like that same day. So we get through, once you queue something up for approval, we'll get to it within a day or maybe 2 days tops, but we clear that thing out. So yeah. So the next point, so then after we approve it, if they're cover songs, which they usually are, we send those off for licensing. And there are parts of the aspects of the licensing process that can actually make that part take longer. Rusty, you want to describe any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I think we touched on this on our last live stream, but if the publisher isn't easily obtainable, or if it's a publisher that our licensing buddies Louder haven't worked with before, then they will file with the U.S. Copyright Office instead of sending a digital notice of intent directly to the publisher. Sending it digitally obviously is going to be way faster than actually printing off the pages, rushing out to mail the thing, making sure it's received. That can take upwards of 2 weeks versus shooting off an email, or in some instances even using API and just hey, Warner Brothers, we're covering this Rihanna song, and they're like, great, and it's been 5 seconds and your release is on its way.
Yep. We see plenty of albums that go through the whole licensing stage in just a day or two.
And sometimes, actually, one other important thing to keep in mind as well is that if you are doing medleys, you'll want to make sure that when filling out the metadata for it, that you have separate compositions for each song that you're covering in the medley. Oftentimes, we see sometimes that with Louder, they'll actually kick the release back to us before even really sending it off, because the metadata that we're sending to them isn't formatted perfectly.
Yeah, so there's that section in the release build. We call it the release builder, but there's the the compositions tab.
Well, it's the publishing tab.
Publishing tab, and that'll show like add a composition. So if you're doing a medley, add a new composition and fill out the information for each song that is part of the medley, instead of just putting it all in one field like you would for the actual track title. So it doesn't have to be separate tracks in the tracks part, but when you get into the publishing part, you do want to add every composition separately, because otherwise it'll get to Louder and it'll all come through as one big jumble, and they'll say, we can't license.
We can't work with this yet.
Yeah, we need the data set up, structured correctly. So that's the licensing. So in terms of things that can hold up or derail the process, if we can't approve it the first time we see it, if there's something messed up in the publishing data that means that it can't be licensed, or if it's just a particularly difficult to license song, that can take a little extra time. Mm-hmm. And we do get everything licensed before we send it off to the services. That way we make sure, number one, to the best of our knowledge, that it can be licensed. Number two, that the notice of intent has been sent as it has to be to the publisher, and number three, that we're sending over accurate publishing data to those services, so in cases where they're liable for any performance royalties on the streams and stuff, they know who to pay, because really the most important thing to us is that rights holders get paid.
Yeah, everybody gets their fair share.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say that's the most important thing. Right? Everybody, the people who need to get paid, get paid. Right. That's the most important thing. And then,
whoa.
Jinx. Oh, no, I don't want to jinx you. I want you to talk.
I don't know what's happening.
You're peeking.
Yep, basically.
Okay, so delivery errors. Now, this is something that happens after it's been approved and then licensed, and then we send it off for delivery to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. There are times where something glitches out in the connectivity, or something isn't right about the data or whatever in the package that we send, and we have to just re-deliver it. In the vast majority of cases, we just re-deliver it. We go through those errors as we see them, and we just deliver them. So you actually see them in your Soundrop account too, under does it? Oh, it's errors. There's a specific
Yeah,
tab.
it's
and, yeah.
under the distribution tab. There's an errors.
Yep, and that will actually show you what the error is. You kind of hover over it, but it's almost never anything that you need to do. So there's nothing really for you to do, but we just show it to you just so you can see what the status is. Although there is one case of a delivery error where there is actually something that you can do kind of upstream from that.
Yeah, and so that's really related to your art and audio files that you submit to us, that you upload. You want to make sure that they're in the right formats. So we're working on art and audio validation to make sure that if you do send us something that's in a different file format from what we send, that we'll be able to convert and deliver the right assets. Currently, a trend that we're seeing is a number of art files, cover art files that are in a specific kind of color space. Anything that's not RGB color will actually error out. And while it's something that we can fix on our end, and we're happy to do it, what it does is it pushes your release back a day or two while our operations team actually goes in and recalibrates the color on it. So what you can do...
Recalibrates?
Yeah, that's right. If it's uncalibrated or if it's CMYK, then we will recalibrate the hell out of the thing.
It's got to be RGB.
RGB, perfect
RBG.
square.
It's got to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
No. Although it would be pretty cool. Although that may be copyrighted, her likeness. I'm not sure. But the point is, perfect square, JPEG, RGB color.
Public figure.
Something between 1500 by 1500 and 3000 by 3000.
Ooh. So quick with the numbers on that stuff.
I'm a numbers guy. Cool.
You're a CMYK expert.
Sure.
So we actually got another question from Lord Biff here about licensing. He's asking, could we license a song from a game OST from Japan or France?
Yeah, and he says, I totally understand that it's a USA market for now. I'm wondering if it's something that can't change forever or if it's something that may evolve.
That's a really good question. We're based in the USA. Our licensing partners as well, and every country has their own laws and copyright regulations and everything. So over time, I think particularly Japanese-only releases would be really interesting. Though, if there's a particular game that you are wondering about and you want to kind of just know before you get into it, you can email us and we'll do what research we can. So I'm thinking of an example. I might have mentioned this last time, but somebody had wanted to do Earthbound covers, and there was no obvious American released soundtrack recording. But what we found over time is that nobody is fighting Earthbound covers live, or being active on services. Whoever is actually controlling those rights, which is not entirely clear, they're
not requesting.
Yeah, they're not issuing
content to be
takedowns.
removed.
They're not asking for the stuff to be removed. So we'll distribute it in that case until we think that there's a problem with it. What we do in those cases is just like for the songwriter royalties, for the publishing royalties, you could just use I think it's called JASRAC. The Japanese
PRO.
Yeah. And so there are options. Again, if you're not sure, just shoot us an email, support@soundrop.com or @soundrop on Twitter, and we'll do our best. We disappeared again.
Nice.
All right. So while we figure out how to reappear, let's delve deep into the mind of... Whoa!
And we're back. Greetings.
This is beautiful. This is going to be a new part of the live stream that I want to call "What's on Rusty's Mind."
So many things.
So over here at Soundrop, I talk a lot, just like nonstop, my voice chattering and bothering everybody else. But I think, and because of that, I want to interrupt my constant, never-ending dialogue and turn it over to Rusty and figure out what's on Rusty's mind.
So,
Rusty, what's on your mind?
Well, one of the things that I really like to do when I get off of work is head home, hop on Steam. And as some of you may know,
I
Steam's...
stopped by Steam on the way home.
What?
Anyway.
So currently, as some of you may know, Steam has their summer sale going on, which is awesome because it
Oh my
means so
God.
many games,
No.
and they're all dirt cheap.
Oh,
One of which I bought over the weekend called Firewatch. I don't know if you guys have played this yet, but it's narrative rich. The story is heartbreaking. And the soundtrack is incredible. Highly, highly recommend it.
all right, what's the gameplay like? What's the type of game here? What is
I
it
think
called?
Firewatch. It's technically a
Firewatch.
walking simulator.
A walking simulator?
Yeah.
Like QWOP? Oh no, that's a
That's a
running.
racing physics simulator. Yeah. But yeah, so Firewatch is basically something happens, and I'm going to do my best to absolutely not spoil this game because all of you should play it. But you are this guy. You're, I think, like 40 years old roughly, and you go to work as a fire lookout for the summer. And the only contact you have is...
What does a fire lookout do? You just stand on the top of a tall tower and look for fire?
That's exactly right. And then when you see one, you call it in.
You can get that job when you're 40 years old?
Sure, you can get that job anytime. I mean,
Is it dangerous?
Well, it's a very lonely experience.
Sounds nice.
It's isolated. So the only other person you talk to throughout the whole game is your supervisor, who's a lady who's at a different tower miles away, who you never meet. And so it's just you radioing back and forth between the two characters. You pick your dialogue trees, you get to know each other, and then all sorts of crazy things start to happen. Very cool game. Highly recommend.
Oh my god.
It's 4 hours long too.
Here's the deal with my life. I'm just going to explain this to viewers because I think this is something that you guys should know. I have a wife and a child, and actually another side business, which has nothing to do with music at all. It's nothing weird, but it's just not relevant. But the that made it sound totally weird. The point is...
You're really not selling this at all.
No, I know. The point, though, I have a point, and it is this. I don't really get to play modern games at all. I have a SNES Classic. I play that with my kid. It's all very basic. But I get to come in here and I'm like, Rusty, tell me about a game that you played that was like really intense visually and had this amazing soundtrack.
I think also I mentioned Prey to you like the other week, and you were just like, please stop talking about it.
Wait, okay, tell me Prey to you.
So Prey is the game where you're in a simulation, like preparing for going to space, and then it's kind of like Groundhog Day, but then you realize that the simulation is actually real. Spoilers. And the space station that you're on is infested with aliens that can mimic the shape of any item in the game. So as you're walking around, any item you pick up could potentially be an alien that will
so you
just
could
try
be
to kill
like,
you.
oh, sweet
Yes.
mankind figure, and then it drills into your eyeball.
Yep.
Oh my god, that sounds so bad.
And the soundtrack to that game is incredible too.
How do you kill the aliens?
With a wrench, an enormous wrench or a shotgun.
Those are the best two weapons. Those
Yeah.
are always what I picked in Clue.
That's why I taped them together. You can't do that in the game. So some other games that are available on the summer sale and actually feature Soundrop artists in
What?
soundtracks. Yeah, so three of my top picks. Hyperlight Drifter has Disaster Piece. Doing the soundtrack for that game is phenomenal. I'm sure you guys have already played it.
Hyperlight Drifter.
Hyperlight Drifter. I can't even tell you about it. You'll just lose your mind.
Okay, don't tell me about it. I don't want to lose my mind on camera.
Risk of Rain is on sale for like $2. That one's really cool because every time you play it, all the enemies are completely different in all the levels. And it's kind of like a 2D like platform shooter kind of game.
Metroid?
And that's kind of, yeah. And that soundtrack was Chris Dulu. I always butcher his name. Phenomenal work from him. And then Abzu as well, which is Austin Wintory doing the soundtrack. And that's the game where you swim with dolphins and blue whales.
Oh.
Visually stunning. And that game is, I think like $5 right now. Awesome stuff.
I'm just living vicarious. I'm just
That's
playing
right.
video games vicariously through Rusty.
So,
Although we did actually share a hotel room all last week, and I had all these opportunities to play video games, and what did we do? We sat and drank whiskey and talked about work.
we drank
Man.
our weight and doers.
Oh my god. one night it was. What night was that?
That was the one that you don't remember, Thursday?
Oh my God. Thursday night? No. Oh yeah, it was Thursday night.
It was Thursday night.
So we were like back, we sponsored and plunked down to be back in one of like the featured creator lounges, and back there, I'm just like giving away pink beanies and shit, and just like, hey, are you a musician and stuff? And there was this like unlimited open bar, which is dangerous, especially because I was like, it's like a high energy atmosphere, so you're just drinking and drinking, and then like Rusty just was like, I'm out of here, and I like don't know what time it was, not as late as it seemed, but I just stumbled back to our hotel room, and God, and then poor Rusty, like the next morning, like first thing that happens is like I wake up and my mouth is filled with saliva, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just like had to get to the bathroom and just like, all right, this is too much, but like empty stomach, just like buckets of whiskey, just I'm like, sorry Rusty, I didn't wake you up.
Oh, it's,
So that's what's on Rusty's mind.
Well, also one other thing that's on my mind is some artists reach out and they ask about our rights and pricing page. Let's bring it back to some more music stuff.
Rights and pricing page.
Rights and pricing. So
this page is this page.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I have ideas for this page.
We have so many ideas. In its current state, when you're releasing a single, you'll have an album level pricing and a track level pricing. For Amazon and for Google Play, those will match. So it's either $1.29 or 99 cents or 69 cents. And you would just want that for the album and for the track. For iTunes, you'll notice under album level pricing that there isn't anything that's close to the track level. So you can just leave that as the default, $9.99. And what iTunes does, because they're smart, is they will just match whatever the track level pricing is. So you leave album level at $9.99, track level at $1.29. It'll show up as $1.29. So keep that in mind when signing up your releases. If it looks any confusing,
it is confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Because the thing that happens most commonly, it seems, is that the single goes up on Google for $9.99.
Well, that one. So,
or is that just a bug?
It's just a bug, and that's why you just match prices. So like with Amazon and Google, you match the album price to the track price before sending it off. You don't necessarily have to leave it as a default.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, somebody in the chat here, let me get back to it.
Somebody with a very dark name, Moneyman2J.
Moneyman2J. So he's asking about covering New Japan songs.
What's New Japan?
It's Japanese pro wrestling, so it's like Japanese WWE.
Right.
But like a million times better. So so what I did here is I looked up NJPW soundtrack and found quite a bit of stuff. There looks like there's a playlist here.
But everything's grayed out, which means you can't play it.
Why is that?
That's a really good question. It's that release has been taken down. Off
Oh,
of
really?
Spotify. Yeah.
That's what it looks like when it's taken down?
That's what it looks like when it's
So,
taken down,
and
or if it's not set for U.S. territory.
Oh.
So that's entirely possible as well.
So let's see. These are top results.
So you're just finding playlists. I
So
guess
I'm just looking for playlists. Oh, here we go. So here's like the Bullet Club theme. So this is what I do, is just go and try to look for a US release. And I'll plunk the thing. Yeah, if you see it on iTunes US, it's fair game.
Right.
Oh. Tony, my producer here, is giving me the 10 minutes. That means I can go 1 minute over because 2:51. Anyway, so there's like all kinds of stuff there. Bullet Club theme, Carl Anderson, AJ Styles theme. What I don't see here, this is just a weird playlist. You just got to search for it. Again, questions, email us and we'll just do
We'll
the
do-
research.
yeah,
We'll figure it
exactly.
out for you. But that would be rad to cover that music. It's awesome. So, okay, we covered the rights and pricing page. We covered everything. Anything else on your mind?
No, outside of we are running out of time, and we have 2 more things to do.
Oh, no. We got plenty of time. So, with the little bit of time we've got remaining here, I wanted to do a new little feature that I want to call Hitting the Inbox. What do you think of that?
Hitting the inbox.
Yeah. And in Hitting the Inbox is where Rusty and I just go right into the Soundrop support inbox
And we punch it.
and just punch it right in the face, which doesn't really work because it doesn't have a face. But what we
But if it did.
can do instead of punching faces is just look for random emails that people have sent us that might have interesting questions or topics that nobody thought to ask until it actually happened to them, and nothing that we thought of just off the tops of our heads. So here, I'm going to sort to today. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I can see canceling all submissions. All right, here's a cancellation question, which I know the whole topic of takedowns and cancellations is something that's very close to Rusty's heart.
Yeah.
And so basically they're like, hey, I waited 30 days for a takedown of my music. I can see there's still an album left on Spotify and a few on iTunes. Sounds like this is an urgent request. They're probably, I don't know what else, they didn't say what else they were trying to do, but what could be going on there?
Well, it could be related to a number of different things. So from our end, what we would do first off is check the CMS for both Spotify and iTunes and see that those releases, content management system. So it's kind of like a database for us. We can go in and type in any artist name and we can check the status of the stuff that we've delivered.
So there's this other kind of like portal for us to be able to just do things in the kind of in-between stage on the back end for each service.
Exactly, yeah. So
do
with
all
iTunes,
the services have that?
Not all of them, no. But we do have that sort of thing for Google and Spotify and iTunes specifically.
Tight.
Sick tight.
It's so wicked sick. Tight.
It's hella tight. All right. So with that in mind, we would check iTunes and we'd check Spotify in the back end, and we would see if those releases are still live from our delivery feed. If they are, then we'll resend the takedown requests. And typically speaking, with iTunes and Spotify, they shouldn't take longer than like a week. We say 30 days just in case.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but
That's good info.
yeah, and if it is a really urgent request with iTunes, through their content management system, I could go in right now and take something down, and it would be down within an hour.
Oh, nice. Okay, so basically the process is you use the little form on our help center that say like, hey, I need this one taken down.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, we get the request, we trigger it from our end from Soundrop, and at that point, it should only take a week.
Yeah,
so.
for those two. So it can take a little bit longer for, say, Deezer or Amazon or Google.
Okay. So Spotify and iTunes, less than a week, or within a week.
Yeah, just about.
What about on the other services? Is that like a little bit more unpredictable?
Yeah, I mean, it can take longer. That's why we always say up to 30 days. Generally speaking, it doesn't take that long. If you are finding that it is weeks and it's still up on Spotify or it's still up on iTunes, let us know, because it means one of two things. It either means that our takedown request didn't go through, or it means that you have a duplicate version up through a different distributor also.
Ooh.
And that's why we'd check in the back end, because if we see that all of our versions are taken down, then what you're seeing on that iTunes artist page didn't come from us. It came from somebody else.
Okay. So Spotify and iTunes within a week or so, all the others within the next couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, after 30 days, as this person's doing,
if you see it,
us.
Just hit us up.
And yeah, if you have the maybe not a habit, but an approach that has you kind of like using different distributors at different times, be on the lookout for duplicates, because that is something that we have seen before for sure.
Yeah.
Here's one. I have, what are they saying? I have an EP and single released through Soundrop. The band name changed, and I want to release a new album using a song from the prior release. What should I do? can I use the same audio file, same ISRC, or do I have to upload the same audio file and get a new ISRC? I still want to keep the old version on the stores. I don't want it to be taken down. So basically, it's their new band, old song, different band.
Mm-hmm. They want to keep the current iteration of it up.
They want to keep the current iteration of it up and then release
it again with a new artist name.
Well, that they didn't specify whether they want a new artist name, but let's say that they want. Let's go through both the use cases. One where they're using the existing band name, or the new band name for the old song, and one where they're using the original band name on the song and just including it on the new band's album.
So that's interesting.
That's a really interesting case. Is that a various artists?
No. It's because it's only 2 artist names, right? So if it's 4 or more, then it would be various artists. They could do that, but it would look kind of strange, and I think it would be misleading to fans because it's still the same person or people behind the music. I think what they could do is they could keep the current versions of the songs up under the old name. They could remaster them and then release them again as the new name. It does afford them an opportunity to breathe some new life into those tracks, especially with a new name, a new artist name, maybe some new artwork.
Yeah.
Kind of spruce it up a little bit.
But we know that Apple in particular won't let you distribute the same song, same exact audio file itself
with different artist names.
Under multiple artist names.
Yeah. All right, well, we got 1 minute left.
Are we out of time? We got 1 minute left?
Is it time?
That gives me... It's time! It's time! It's Vader time! Oh, no. That gives me a chance to talk about wrestling for 1 minute.
We got less than a minute. Book up.
All right, 60 seconds, do it.
Do it. All right, so what I want to talk about wrestling today is a shout out to our beloved Big Van Vader, who passed away last week at the young age of 63 from heart failure. Big Van Vader, when I was growing up, and this is the early 90s, he was a monster in WCW. He was doing stuff that I had never seen anybody do, and barely anybody's done since. He beat Sting clean for the world title with a powerbomb off the top rope. When I saw that, I was blown away. I'd never seen anything like it, and still nobody really gets powerbombed off the top rope. He also ripped Cactus Jack's ear off for real.
For real.
Ear came off his body.
I want his ear off.
Yeah, this is Mankind, who he had to become after Big Van Vader ripped his ear off and powerbombed him on concrete. All right, that's it, you guys. We're going to try to hit you up and be right here in this same spot, same time, same channel, the last Tuesday of every month. That's our goal. Consistency, regularity, and we're thinking start just like one per month right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, hit us up at Soundrop on Twitter if you want to chat. And
make sure to follow us on Twitch as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely follow that.
Yeah.
And,
and Instagram.
And, we've got Instagram now.
We got, like, everything now. Just follow us on literally everything.
We got MySpace.
No, we don't. Follow my live journal.
Friendster.
Yeah, perfect. Well, anyway, thanks for hanging out with us for the last hour, and we'll see you next month.
Bye, guys.